Hey guys, in today's video, I'm just going to be talking about what I learned about myself from being an entrepreneur, like what I learned about myself. And I can tell you that one major thing that I've learned is that um, I enjoy challenges, and I didn't realize this when I started. In the beginning, when I started to, start my company, my first one when I was a kid, I was like 19 years old. I was basically, working as any other teenager. I was working for quite a few years, and then I started my business, which was a chimney cleaning business. And it was funny because that was my first business, and I started it because it was low cost. And I think from then, what really inspired me was on the entrepreneur side was that it felt like there was no cap, to my pay. Whereas, I can go and push forward, and at least everything's coming to me. And in my mind, I thought that, what, this is going to be completely all me. I don't have to answer to anybody. It's, there's freedom involved. And, I just found it very, very exciting as a teenager, right? Um, Now, one thing I did realize, from being an entrepreneur at that age is that, I was still educating myself, and I learned over the years that after many years that education that I thought wasn't as important back then actually is very important. However, what I learned from being an entrepreneur was actually getting in the trenches, getting in there, getting my hands dirty, and learning every aspect of the business. So, for example, in my mind, I learned over the last, 2.5 decades, almost 3 decades, is that there's five buckets, there's five areas, and one is basically the service part. There's the management, right? And then you of course you got the finance part of it, right? And then you've got the sales and the marketing. So you've got these five areas, and all five need to be addressed, and as an entrepreneur, you don't even think of that. You maybe just go in and you think of maybe just sales and service, or selling a product or whatever it is. You don't think of all these other areas that are important for the future long-term growth of your company, and also a mindset. So what I urge you guys to do is to, do some research. There's a lot of stuff online, and you can look at those five areas. And I would recommend, again, starting at the top of, let's say, a funnel would be, at the very top would be the marketing. Okay, that's number one. Okay, and number two is sales, because marketing has to happen first before you get sales, and then the sales turns into service or product delivery or fulfillment, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be the service portion, part three. And then there's going to be, the finance part of it, which is the billing, billing, finance, keeping on top of managing your money, keeping your expenses relatively low in terms of, how much profit you're going to make off of that, right? So you take your gross revenue minus the expenses, and then that portion at the end is what you are working so hard for. And then there's the fifth part, which is actually the management of everything, right? So these are the five areas that are very important. Management has to do with you're managing your marketing, you're managing your sales, you're managing your service, your products, your clients. You're also managing, your finance, right? Your billing and everything else, right? All of this is very, very important. So that's one thing I want to mention is that, and back here you can see I have a spreadsheet. I've got so many spreadsheets. I used to hate spreadsheets. I used to hate Microsoft and Excel, and now they're like, it's my best friend. I actually use Google Sheets, and I love it. And I'm able to visualize and put things into, because I'm a very visual person, and most people are. That's why videos are doing so well, is because people are more visual, and also audio, right? Audio visual. So basically, when I put together a spreadsheet, I can compartmentalize all those areas and see where I'm doing well and where I need to improve, right? So, and one thing I'll tell you I learned about myself is I like the challenges. It's a constant challenge. I'm on like my sixth or seventh business. I've had so many locations for gyms and stuff like that, and that was great. It taught me a lot. I took a beating sometimes, and sometimes I gave a beating, so it depends, which way. And when I say give a beating, I mean like I've done well by working hard, right? And I'm talking business wise. So, I urge you to look inside yourself, and what have you learned from being an entrepreneur? I'd like to hear from you. Like, have you learned anything that I can learn from? Because we're always just constantly learning. And I can tell you that every new venture is a new learning process. Just because you know business, the same principles apply. However, you're going to have to take those principles and apply them to a new product or service, right? So think of all that as a foundation. Okay, so I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you guys do well in your businesses. And yeah, and that's a little bit what I've learned from being an entrepreneur. I mean, there's much more to this as well, but I just want to kind of give you a general overview in this video. So I hope you guys do great and wish you guys the best.